The
Bye. All right. Daddy, how are you?
I'm fine, and you?
I shall be fine. Daddy, I'm from Mafikeng in South Africa. Now we're here in Botswana. I came across your speech, and I'm also I heard from one of the ladies outside telling me the struggle, the Robben Island, and all these stories. So you're gonna need to tell me yourself, and then I think we're gonna start with the Winnie Mandela. I understand that you do know the family very closely of Mandela family.
Yes.
So let's start from there, and then we're gonna talk about your struggle as well, being at Robben Island.
Yes. Yes, no, I knew the Mandelas very well.
Yeah.
I knew Winnie very well. From the moment she was married, which was somewhere in 1957. They married in 1958. They didn't stay long together because, as I was just saying in my speech here, the struggle was hotting up. It was intensifying. And in 1960, the African National Congress was banned, and they'd just been married with Nelson Mandela for 2 years. So he was detained. He was detained for about 6 months or something like that. Now, their first daughter was born in 1958, and when Mandela came back from detention under the state of emergency, he was he didn't have time, you see, to stay with her because he had to go underground. Now that the African National Congress had been banned. And not long thereafter, Nelson Mandela was away, abroad, to mobilize, for the African National Congress and for the struggle in South Africa. And when he came back, 62, when he came back from his tour abroad, he was arrested and charged for leaving the country without a passport and sentenced to 5 years. All this time, of course, Winnie was alone, staying with his 2 kids. One who was only, 5, and the other one was about 3. So Winnie, as some speakers at this ceremony have been saying, she was the most married woman. She was the most married woman. So we continued. ANC conducted his struggle underground. Winnie was very much part of it. And she was most hardworking, activities you could imagine underground. You could never miss her from any meeting, from any activity. She was always there. And she was looking after the kids, and it was quite a tough, a tough assignment to sit for her. I knew Comrade Winnie Mandela very, very well.
Yeah, but so I like what you said, because now you're putting the point of saying, I mean, you haven't mentioned anything of a controversial. You just mentioned about her strength and how powerful and how the determination that this lady had.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, she was controversial. Controversial because she was misreported by the newspapers. The state, the apartheid state, carried out a campaign to demonize her, to make her look a very, very evil person. To the extent that they actually knowingly told a lie that she was their informer. Told a lie that she had killed a young man by the name of Sipei. Now, just recently, we heard from the man who was the commissioner of police, saying all this talk about Winnie killing this boy, this young man, was a lie, because they had investigated the case, and nowhere did they find any evidence to connect Winnie Mandela with the murder, of this boy. Now, quite recently also, another policeman by the name of Paul Erasmus was interviewed, and she admitted that in fact the so-called football club, which was called Mandela team, was infiltrated by the police. It was infiltrated with informers, with spies, just to watch all the movements you see of Winnie, who she was meeting, and what she was saying, you see, to people she was meeting, and that sort of thing. Now, of course, the press, they had the newspapers, government newspapers, who spread, the lie that Winnie was an informer. She was running around, with young men and so on, and such kind of fibs.
So
that's, some people, of course, believed all this propaganda, all these lies.
yeah,
But people who knew her closely, people who were in touch with Winnie as a social worker, did not believe, you see, all this rubbish. Now, only now that she is dead, even the police are coming out to say they deliberately vilified her, and there was no truth in what they were saying about her.
so does this mean that also some of the ANC, big figures also do not understand exactly what happened, or they not getting information as well? Because according to the speech that I watched by Thabo Mbeki recently after the death of Winnie Madikizela Mandela, trying to point to her as a controversial figure, and I watched a video on YouTube which where it shows Thabo Mbeki pushing the glasses of the madikizela when she arrived late, I think, from the conference, sort of a thing. But he doesn't seem, Thabo Mbeki, former president of South Africa, does not seem to be, it's there are two stories. I mean, if you listen to the speech of Thabo Mbeki and him as the president, the former president, he has chosen, to be perhaps, to be frank. Do you think he could be misinformed with missing reports that the propaganda that apartheid government had managed to prove through, that certain figures, especially big figures as the one of Thabo Mbeki, believe what happened, or they're missing this information, the new information that is coming out?
Many people were misinformed, and they believed it, in particular because they read all the papers, you see, that of course supported apartheid. Now you remember that Thabo Mbeki was in exile, so for the most of the time when Comrade Winnie Mandela, you see, was being vilified. Now most of what happened, what they were saying and printing, in the newspapers, was a lie. A deliberate lie, because they were afraid of her, and they were afraid, of her influence. Now, of course, Winnie was human. She could, do what would have been regarded, as a misbehavior.
Yeah.
That's misdemeanor.
Misdemeanor, yeah. Okay, I think it's the end of the program, and then people are gonna start moving towards our side. All right, it was nice, to meet you, and it's great.
You say you are in Namibia?
No. I was born in Malawi, but I'm based in Mafikeng.
Oh, you're
I'm studying there. Yeah, I'm studying for my PhD in international relations.
You're reporting for which paper?
Yeah, it's a social media. It's electronic media. It's a media that focuses on the social media where people get information, such as Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Yeah, because this is gonna become mainstream media in future. Because that's why the young people, cannot be heard on TV because they're not watching TV. They're always having their